Alright, today I'm going to show you how to make a basic Sony video and to save it out as an MP4. If you've already seen my other videos, we do have one on there for a basic training in Sony. It's a 42-minute video on YouTube. If you've already watched that, you've already known how to create a basic movie or a message in Sony, and then you have saved it out as an MOV and saved it out to your digital sign. But if you are acquiring a new digital and you're going to be saving them out as an MP4, which is different, and a different file save format, I'm going to show you quickly how to create that. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Sony Movie Studio, and I'm going to start something new and something fresh. If you have already created a design that you have done and you've saved it out as an MOV, you can always go back to that and save it out in a different file format that I'll show you later once I get done showing you how to create just a basic simple video. So I'm going to click on something new, and I want to be able to choose the right format for my new project. Now before, I have had you guys click on the AVCHD, but for a basic MP4 you want to click on the HDV. And I'm going to choose the 1280 by 720p. Okay. You can either choose this one. If you end up choosing the 1440 by 1080, it's going to be a little bit of a bigger file size. These up in here are 4K Ultra, which is a little overkill, but I'm going to go ahead and choose the 1280 by 720. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. I'm going to start my new project. Now in this section, if you're already familiar with Sony, depending on the size of your unit, if you have like a 128 by 256 in pixels, this is going to be roughly the size of your unit, or the shape of your unit. If you have a more elongated unit, maybe it's like this size, then you want to change the properties in your Sony software. Most displays are either going to be like this or like that. But if you have a more unique shaped display, maybe it's vertical, maybe it's elongated like that, you need to change your properties in Sony. If you have a more elongated unit, over here to properties, and then you can change it right in here. Do not change it over here. You want to change it right in this area. So if you have a more elongated sign, the higher the number, the more elongated it's going to be. You could pick a 1.3 or maybe a 1.4, and if you click on apply, it's going to change it. I'm going to go back to square because most displays will have a regular size shape. It's almost equivalent to like a business card. Okay, that size of shape. If you have a more elongated unit, the best thing that I would advise is to call 1-800-927-1778, and that's for Vision Tech, and ask to speak to someone in tech support, and then maybe they can do a webinar with you and show you how to make those modifications. But for most of the viewers, most of you will have this type of unit or this type of size. Okay, so for most of you, you should be already familiar with Sony. If you're not, and this is your first time looking at this, I'm going to show you quickly how to kind of navigate through here. Okay, there are two different types of modes. There's a simple mode, and then there's the advanced mode. The advanced mode gives you a lot more options in graphics and design. I would advise that you learn the advanced mode because, quite frankly, you want to be able to utilize the software as much as possible. So I would advise that you use the advanced setting. This is the area where you import a lot of your content, like your pictures, your movies, your music. You can import it online right up here, or you can import it directly from your computer, whichever one you want to use. This area right in here is where you can preview, or you can see the images, videos, or pictures. You can preview it over in this area, and this is where you do all your editing. Okay. These tabs in here give you different types of options, different types of transitions. You can do different types of special effects on your pictures or your videos. And then on the media generators, this is where you can create your text, your typography. You can also do different types of colors or gradients in your backgrounds. So if you're relatively familiar with Photoshop, this is going to give you some options to create some different types of backgrounds for your message. So if you want to start something new, I'm going to go ahead and click on my by type. I'm going to add in my still. A still is like an image or just a picture. So you can click on any one of these depending on if you're hooked up to the internet. But I'm going to click on Add Media. I'm going to go to my pictures, find a photo that's just going to relatively work out for what I want to use it for. I'm going to choose this one. That's kind of nice. That's a lollipop, or like a sucker. Okay. If I want to see this image in my preview area, I have to click on the auto preview. If I click on that, it's going to show up what it looks like. I can also add in video. Go to my videos folder. Probably helps if you have all these videos uploaded to your unit or your computer before you start your design process. And I'm just going to pick some random videos. And you can pick more than one. I've just selected one there. We'll select the American flag. And we'll go ahead and click on open. So it's going to pop it in there for me. If I want to see what these things look like, I can click on them and it'll do a preview of them. Same thing with this one. Okay, so that way it gives me an idea about what I'm kind of working with. So if I want to bring this content in, I can just drag and drop it down here. You can also add in music if you want to. Most digital displays do not have music, but if you're working with an indoor unit, they do have music. So now I'm going to choose some different types of music, and I'm just going to pick player. Okay. So if you have the sound on your computer, you can click on the music and it'll start playing the music for you. Okay. Now I'm not going to listen to this the whole time. So if you want to bring in your content down in this area, all you got to do is just drag and drop. Okay. We do have a layer for music, audio, video, and text. So in this video area, you can either add in a picture or a video. So I'm just going to drag and drop it just like that. I can go to my video. I can do the same exact thing. Just like that. If you get this warning here, what it's basically asking you is, do you want this to match the size of this, or do you want this to match the size of that? Okay, we want this to match the size of our preview, so if we wanted that, we would click on no. If you wanted this window to match the size of this, we would click on yes. But we don't want that because our digital display is about this size. So we're going to click on no. Okay. If you accidentally clicked on yes, it would have made your preview area match the size of this thing. And we have no idea what this size is because the original creator that made this could have made it in a more elongated piece or more square looking, but we're not going to have any idea because we're making something that's custom. So that's why you want to click on no. Okay. So if I hit play, it's going to preview this area up in here. Right, so now that I have this in here, okay, you can make these just a little bit bigger. This lasts for about 7 seconds, and how I know that is I can look down here and it'll tell me. I can also merge these together a little bit, or transition them together, so when this thing plays, it'll fade right into my video. Just like that. Okay. Now if you notice on this image here, if you're working in Sony, you see like these black looking bars in here. Sometimes they may be on the top or the bottom. It kind of depends on the type of image you've imported into your Sony software. Most of them will not have these bars on here because they have been formatted to fit a more 16:9 ratio or like a widescreen format. So if you want to get rid of these, here's the best way to do it. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And how I did that is I'm going to use my mouse and I'm going to use my wheel and I'm going to go forward. Now if I go forward, I'll zoom in. But if you want to pull back, you can take your wheel here and pull back just like that. So if I go forward, I zoom in, pull back, zoom out. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to click on this image and I'm going to right click, select properties, check off the maintain aspect ratio. What this does is this will fit your image to frame. Then click OK. Bam, there we go. If you want to make this a little bit more proportionate, if it's too stretched out for you, you can make it more proportionate. I'm going to show you how to do that. You can go right here. There's like a little cropping tool. It looks just like in Photoshop. You can click on that, pull up your window here, and I want this to look like this because this is more square looking. So I'm going to right click, select match output aspect, and then just resized it for me. You know, then I can zoom in, I can zoom out, you know, whatever I want to do. Then close that out, and there we go. You can also enhance these images if you want to. I'm going to click on my Video FX. This is for image enhancing, filtering. I can also move these little windows down a little bit, so that way I can make these things just a little bit bigger. Okay. So in my Video FX, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to go to levels. That's usually the best one to use. And then I'm going to go to the Studio RGB to Computer RGB. This is a filter, and this is going to enhance this photo a little bit. So all I got to do is just drag and drop it right on top of my photo, just like that, and let go. Now if you didn't see that, this photo really enhanced big time. If you want to see what it looked like before, you can uncheck this, and when I uncheck this, just watch over here. See that? So it actually enhanced it, kind of neoned it to a degree that it makes it more vibrant, more bold. It's going to look very, very good on your sign, so I'd encourage that if you have any photos, ads, or videos, you do this. If you want to maximize the brightness and the quality or the richness of the colors on the digital display. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. You can go up to brightness and contrast if you want to. Some people like to do it, some don't. It may be a little overkill. Kind of depends on what's going to work out for you. It's not really necessary, but if you feel compelled to go up to brightness and contrast and kind of enhance it a little bit more, you can. You can also do this same effect with this. Go back down to levels, pick your Studio RGB to Computer RGB and just drag and drop. Then I just enhanced it. I really don't change all these because it's kind of overkill. It's kind of a waste of time, but it does actually enhance it to what actually looks good on a sign. Now, when this thing starts, I don't want it to start in the black because I don't want black to show. I want to start it right about here. So if I want to start it there, I can actually split it. And split means you're like separating the video into two pieces. Then I can click on this, hit delete on my keyboard, and it's gone. Then it'll start right there. And I don't want it to end in blackness. I want it to end like right about here. I can split it again, select that, hit delete, and it's done. Then I can merge these together. A good merge time frame is about maybe 120. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of small on the video. But this will last for about a second and a half. Plenty of time. It was just like that. Okay. You can also do fading or soft transitions onto your at the beginning or the end of your video. And how you do that is you can click on the fade. You can do like a little bit of a fade just like that. You can do one on the end. You can also go up to transitions and pick a different type of transition that you want it to start and stop in your video. There's so many in here to choose from. I mean, the list just keeps on going. And just like the video FX, like in the levels that I just showed you, you can do the exact same thing in the transitions, which is really cool because now you can modify each one of these transitions to what you want. It's a little bit more advanced than what my previous video showed, but this is where you can really kind of make it your own, you know, and you can create something a little bit more dynamic compared to what the other guy's doing. Okay, so if you want to kind of maybe do something like this, you know, whatever it is that you want, you can just drag and drop this to the beginning or the end or the middle. You can even put it right here, here, or here. So I'm going to put it in the very beginning on this one. I'm going to let go. Now right now it has 8 divisions, but I want to kind of see what this kind of looks like on here. So I'm going to take my little preview, I'm going to drag it on over here. So you can kind of see that. I have 8 divisions. I can even increase them if I want to. Make it look like some back porch blinds or something. Or I can decrease it. Okay. I can put in extra spins if I want to. I can kind of stagger them out, you know. So now that I've made my adjustments, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Now you can, in fact, change the amount of time this transition plays. Right now it plays for about a little over a second. I can increase it, so the more I increase this, the longer the transition is going to play. The shorter time, the shorter the transition is going to play. And this is all custom. I mean, if you're doing this, chances are no one else is doing it. So you're making this fully custom, specifically for your location, which makes your sign very unique. You can even do something like this on the end. You know, maybe you want to do like a page roll or a slide out, maybe a push. You can also just do like a natural fade. You know, any one of these that you want. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to drag and drop it right on there. And that'll end just like that. I can change the angle if I want to. If I don't want it like that, I can move it around. You know, I can increase the feather, make it it's a little bit, you know, a little bit more fuzzier. I can reduce the amount of blinds that are in there. So when this thing plays, it'll end out just like that. Okay. Most people are not going to have any idea how you made that. They're not going to know. You know, they're going to look at the sign like, oh wow, look at that. You know, maybe even your boss will say, wow, how'd you do that? You know, and you can say, oh, you know me, you know, I'm just so good, or you know, something. But those are the kind of things, you know, that whenever you're making this is how easy it is just to create just a simple video. Okay. You can also add in some text. So if you want to click on your text area, you need to go to media generators. You can do like titles and text. This is the type of stuff that will move around. In the first video I showed you how to do like an action flip. This time I'm just going to show you like a legacy text. Legacy text is the most popular because in this one all the letters are moving, but if you just want it to stay still, you can choose something else. So I'm just going to choose like this sample text. I'm just going to drag and drop it right in here. So it's popped it in there for me. Alright. So I'm going to type in something. I can increase the size if I want to. I can choose any one of these, or I can just simply type it in just like in Microsoft Word. If it's too big, I can decrease it. I change it down to like 185. Okay. I can also change my font if I don't like the font I'm using. You know, Franklin's a pretty good one. It's one of my favorite ones. It makes it kind of big, relatively thick. Then I can increase, instead of 185, now I can increase it to a bigger size. I want to go a little bit bigger than that. So right now I have it at 250. So it's going to fill up most of my display here. I can click on placement and move it up if I want to. If you want it dead center, from right down the middle, you can select this and make it 0. And it'll put it in the dead center. That's a quick little shortcut. If you can't get it just right, make these zeros and it'll put it right in the dead center. You can also change the color of your font. You can maybe choose a blue, maybe you want it to be yellow. If you want maybe like this pink in here, you can choose the eyedropper, select that pink, and I'll change it to that color. That's kind of nice. Or you can choose something down here. Maybe you want it to be like this orange color on this triangle. And see, there you go. It's a little dark. I kind of like the white myself. So I'm going to change it to white so that way it shows up. You can also put like a... It already has a drop shadow on it. I just deactivated it. I can put it back on there. You can also put in an outline. Maybe the white doesn't work for you. Maybe you want yellow. Maybe you want like a dark border or like a stroke. This will increase like the feather on it. You can increase the width and make it bigger. You know, something like that. If that's what you want, you can go ahead and click OK. I'm going to reduce the size of this. I clicked on my normal right here, and I'm going to reduce the size of it, or the length that it plays. Okay. You can also do fades on these as well. You click on the fade and fade it in. You can also click on the transitions. You can have it come in a different way. So it just kind of does that. If you don't like that, you can click on this little X here, get rid of the split, and they'll go right back into the fade. Okay. Now, anytime I bring in text, I also want to do the uncheck the maintain aspect ratio. So I'm going to right click, select properties, uncheck the maintain aspect ratio, and click OK. I do that for anything that I bring down here, especially for a digital sign. You're going to find out that if you don't, and you run it through your through the sign, it's going to look a little funky looking. So anything for a digital sign, uncheck the maintain aspect ratio on anything down here. Okay. If you want to create like additional text, I went over here and I right clicked and I can do insert video track. It's basically going to put in like a wildcard, but I want to be able to add some text up here and then put something else down here. So I can you can do like a copy and paste with your shortcut keys. If you're not familiar with your shortcut keys, you can right click on this, choose copy, click anywhere down here, and then choose paste. Then click OK, and it'll pop it in there for you. So all I've done is I basically duplicated this hello, but you can't see it because it's underneath this top one here. So I want to put like hello and put something else down here. So I'm going to click on my layer with this little movie reel. And I'm going to call this world. Okay. Now I can't really see it because it's behind my hello, so I want to be able to move it. So I'm going to move this down. I went to placement. I'm going to move this down a little bit. You don't want it right up to the edge. Just give it a little bit of a buffer like I did on the hello. I'm going to go back into edit. I'm going to decrease the size. I went down to 200. That's not bad. I still want it a little bit smaller. I want to kind of squish it a little bit. So hey, if you ever want to squish some wording, maybe like the font, but it's just not working out for you. You want to kind of squeeze it in. This is how you do it, okay? Without reinventing the wheel. Go into effects right here, and then go to deformation. And then you can determine, based on what is identified here, what you want it to do. Now I want to squeeze it top and bottom, or I want to squeeze it vertically. So you want to select compress vertically. If you want to bring this part here down and this part down here up, you want to select compress vertically. If you want to squeeze it from left to right, you would select compress horizontally. Make sense? So I'm going to select compress vertically. Now it really did it a lot there. So I want to reduce it to get it right where I want it. You know, if it's halfway in between, hey, just type in the number, you know, put in 150. Alright, just split the difference. So then if you want to, you can go back and maybe you want to change the color. Make it yellow, you know, make it blue, you know, whatever you want to do. Then once you have created your fonts, go ahead and click OK or close it out and you're done. That's simple. So now that I have all of my information here, I want to bring this over to the very beginning. Instead of grabbing everything one at a time and bringing it over, making sure it all lines up, just hit Control A on your keyboard, which is Control All. I've selected everything. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move it over just like that. And there we go. So now I have this beautiful graphic that shows up. It fades into this flaming gas and it says hello world, and it stops. You can also end these words with something else. If you want to maybe have this hello kind of go to the left and the world go to the right, I'm going to click on my hello, go to my transitions. I'm going to choose push. So I want my hello to maybe shoot off to the right. Let's use this one. Alright, I can also increase it just a little bit. Then I want to do the same thing, but I want the world to go off to the left. You know, you don't have to use the push left, you can use the push in left, whichever one you want to use. Okay, there we go. So at the same time, both of these will go out just like that. And after you have put these in here, if you don't like what you've chosen, hey, you can just go back in through here, find something else, drag and drop it and put it right on top of that, and it'll change it out automatically. So you can do all different types of transitions and moving in and moving out. It just kind of depends on what you want to use. Okay. So now that I've created this simple video in here, I can save it. So I'm going to go up to Project, go to Save As. I always choose Save As because sometimes if I open up an old existing one and I make some modifications to it and I want to call it a different name, I don't accidentally save over the original. I've been there and it's kind of a pain. So, or saving over an original you didn't intend to save over. So that's why I always pick Save As. So I'm going to save this to my desktop. I'm going to call this my test images. I'm just going to call this Hello World. I would be typing with two hands, but I don't want to tip over my video, so that's why I'm using just one. Alright, and there we go. Okay. Real quickly, if you do want to add in some music, you know, you can do that. If you don't want to use that, you can hit delete on the keyboard and it's gone. You can add in some different types of music if you want to. So I put in Guns N' Roses. Now most signs are not going to have music, so if you ever intended to want to add in music, you could. And it's the same principle by drag and dropping. Just click on your music and just drag and drop it, just like that. Now it's going to show the entire song, but if you don't want to show the entire song, you can shorten it up. Okay, you can move it around. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that way I can see what I'm working with. You can shorten it up like that. You can also do a fade on it. So whenever you do a fade, the volume will increase over time. So when I hit play, it'll start to increase over time based on the fade. Okay. Now we're not gonna go playing Guns N' Roses for you, but just so that we can kind of see what it looks like. You can also decrease the amount of volume. Instead of it playing at full blast, you can even decrease the gain on it. So it's almost like you're lowering the sound on the video. And you're doing it by choice. Okay? So that we can kind of see that. Okay. If you don't want to use your audio, you can just delete anywhere in here, select delete track, and it's gone. You can do the same thing for your music. Okay. If you want to add it back in, all you got to do is just drag and drop it, and it'll put it in there automatically. That's kind of nice. Alright. So let's go back into here. Now, on my other video, at about this point in time, I showed you some different options in Sony to help you with your design. But if this is your first time and you haven't seen my other video, and you want to get more familiarized with the entire scope of Sony, you can go right up here and click on Show Me How. Now this button in here, it'll give you some options to get more familiarized with the program. This is like an internal tutorial inside the software. So basically, if you wanted to like go up into basics, or maybe like importing or adding media, like how do I import, how do I import images, or how do I add media to the timeline? Maybe you brought it in here and then you forgot, well, I don't remember how to do that. How do I do that? So you can go right over here and click on how to add media to the timeline. Okay. Then it's going to say this tutorial will show you how to add media to your timeline. Okay. So now what? So click on next, and then it says this window contains all the media in your project. Click on the media file you want to add to the timeline. Okay. I want to add this. If you want to add in audio or video or image, you can click on the Add Media button and in the Project Media window to select one from your computer. Alright, so now that I've found that, now what? And it says drag the media that you selected to the timeline. Okay. I did that. Now what? Congratulations, you have successfully added media to the timeline. Well, that was easy. So, if you don't want to go through the entire setup and all these other things, just click on the Show Me How option. Look at all these tutorials. I mean, there's just tons in here to choose from. You don't have to go to the online tutorial that I provided for you all the time. You can watch all of these, which is awesome. Because when I first started, I watched all these, and here I am teaching you guys. So here's an opportunity for you to watch all of these if you have time, and get more familiarized with how to add in all these special effects within this video program. Plus you have Vision Tech support to help you out with it. So it's like a win-win all over, So that's always positive. Okay. I'm going to delete this because that was just for a demo part. Now, in my first video that I had created something out of Photoshop, I had made like a basic background ad. It was actually an image of some balloons, and then I made a PNG. If you've already watched that and you want to know how to add in your logos or those background ads into here, I'm going to show you quickly how to do it. So if you've already watched that previous video, now the next step is to add it into Sony. If you've already made a still ad, but it fits to the exact size of your sign, you can automatically send it out to the sign. But if you have an intention of bringing it back into Sony and doing some more, maybe some video graphics with it, maybe you want to add in some transitions into that ad. So I'm going to show you quickly how to add in some of those graphics that I created in Photoshop. So I'm going to go to my stills, and I'm going to go to Add Media, and I'm going to navigate to that folder that I had created the images in Photoshop, which is my test images. So here is my PNG file and my JPEG file. My JPEG file is a 256 by 128. My PNG is a 256 by 128. That was the pixel size that we had created in Photoshop in case most displays are a 4 by 8 size. Okay. Then right here is my foot design. One is with a drop shadow and one is without. But I'm going to bring all these in so that way you can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to click on open, and bam, there they are. Okay. Now these are a solid background. Okay. This one here, when I created it, it had a transparent background. Okay. Sometimes it will show up relatively good, sometimes it won't. It kind of depends on the type of computer that you have. Now for me, it's not working very good. So, but once I bring it down into here, it'll show up just fine. Okay. So I can grab any one of these and I can drag and drop it just like that. I can grab my foot design, bring it down there. All right. So now I have my foot design and then I have my balloons. Okay. I can also move my foot design upwards. So anytime it has a transparent background on it, that means that you'll be able to see through it. It means you'll be able to see the background behind it, which is what we have here. So anytime you create like a PNG, this is what you'll end up with if the background is transparent. Now if you notice that I have these black looking bars here, no problem. I can right click on my image there, select properties, uncheck the maintain aspect ratio, then click OK, and there we go. I can also add in my video FX, go to my Studio RGB, drag and drop, enhance the colors. I want to do the uncheck maintain aspect ratio with my foot design. Now we'll stretch it out a little bit, but I'm going to go back in there and I want it to fit a little bit better. So I right clicked, match output aspect. Now it fits it pretty good. It's almost the entire size of my display. Then if I want to, I can add in some transitions. I can go to my transition. Maybe I want to do like a page peel. So when this thing comes in, it'll peel just like that. See? So anytime you have like a graphic or a logo that you want to add to your sign, you can go ahead and publish it to your sign, but if you want to add in some additional graphics, you can bring it into Sony and kind of modify it to give it a little bit of a more customized touch. Okay, it looks like it's actually peeling a sticker right off the sign, and bam, there it is. That's pretty nice. And that's how we do that. Okay. If you want to bring this on over and touch this over here, you can, just like that. You can even allow this to merge with this. You can increase the length. So this thing here will fade out. And foot design. See? That's simple. Now that I have modified this, I'm going to go ahead and go to Project, go to Save. I'm going to go to Make Movie. And then I want to go to save it to my hard drive. You can, in fact, save it to like YouTube or Facebook if you want to put it online. But if you want to send it out to the sign, you want to put it on your computer. After you get done saving it, you want to choose the MP4 option. Okay. In the previous video, we have chosen MOVs. Every time you choose like an MOV, it actually compresses the file. But if you're going to be saving the MP4, this is what you want to choose. Okay. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I'm going to save my MP4 in the correct folder. So I want to go to Browse. I want to choose that folder that I'm sending all of my images to, which is my test images on my desktop. I'm going to select this folder, and then I'm going to go click on Advanced Options. Okay. Now there's only one type in here that's going to work, and I mean there are just tons in here, and you never really know which one to choose. Okay. So anytime that you're in here and maybe some of you have chosen the QuickTime 7, now you're going to the MP4. The best one to use is go to Main Concept, AVC, AAC, and choose the Internet HD 720p. Trust me, I have tried all of these, every single one, even with custom presets, custom templates, and this one works the best. Okay. and it actually will start playing on your sign. So you want to choose the Internet HD 720p. If you feel compelled to, you can star it, so that way you know exactly which one it is. Then after you select that, you're going to go down to folders, and you want to browse, and you want to put it back into that file that is on your desktop. And it's right down there. So that way we know everything is going to be saved to the right area. Okay. So I have Hello World MP4. So all I can do is just click on render, and it'll render it for me. And depending on how long the video is, you can have one that lasts, 4 or 5 minutes. But most ads are only going to play for maybe 8 to 10 seconds on the sign anyway. You want to be able to determine while you're making your ads that some city ordinances will only require a video that is 8 to 10 seconds long. So if it's 8 to 10 seconds long, you want to be able to adjust that right in through here, because it can't go past 10 seconds. If you're starting this software new, you may go ahead and check box this little box right here, or check mark it. That way when this thing gets done, all this here will close out for you. Okay, now it's done. So if I want to see what it looks like, I can minimize this. I can go into my folder. So here's my Hello World right here. There's my video. I can either open it up or I can hit play. So it's going to play it for me, show my sucker, and then it'll fade out into the flames, say Hello World, and then that'll transition out, go into the balloons, and say foot design. See? And it's that simple. And then from there you can take this video and put it into your player software, whatever software that you're using, and then you can post it up onto your sign. And that's all we have for you. If you have any questions, you can call 1-800-927-1778 and ask for someone in tech support to assist you on making your marketing messages for your digital display. That's all. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.